It's a simple fact. As our years advance, our hearing often declines. But thanks to the skilled audiologists at the Hearing and Speech Agency, there is no need to live in silence.
For most individuals, historically, they would start to lose their hearing as they age more closer to 70. But now with baby boomers, we're starting to see hearing loss develop at a much younger age. So people are coming in around the age of 50, 55, 60, complaining that they're having difficulty with hearing. The baby boomer generation was the first generation to have that exposure to personal headsets that went over the ears, listening to loud music, rock concerts, and that sort of thing. The Hearing and Speech Agency has been around since 1926. We started out as an agency that was geared towards helping people with hearing needs. And then over the course of the last century, we've developed into more of a full agency that services people with a broad range of communication challenges. We serve individuals ranging from newborns all the way up to the elderly.
I'm going to put the headphones on.
The role of the audiologist here at HASA is to work with patients who come in with a complaint of hearing loss. So from start to finish, we do a comprehensive evaluation. We check their hearing, we check their middle ear function, and if there's a problem, we will either refer out to an ENT or physician for a medical evaluation, or if we determine that there's a need for hearing aids, then we'll work with them through the hearing aid process.
Sunset.
We try to educate our patients when they come through. We talk to everybody, especially if we see an indicator that a hearing loss was a result of noise exposure. We certainly talk to parents of young children and teenagers to try and help them preserve their hearing. Some of the warning signs of hearing loss would be certainly if you're having difficulty hearing conversation, but if you're also having difficulty hearing voices over the telephone or understanding voices that are coming out of your television or hearing what you're seeing in a theater production, then certainly that would be an indicator that there's something going on with your hearing.
Say the word nice.
Nice.
Some of the first indicators of hearing loss that someone might experience would be difficulty hearing women's and children's voices, so higher pitched voices in conversation, but oftentimes it's the other people in that individual's lives who might notice it first. We usually recommend that someone first schedule an appointment with an audiologist. There are lots of individuals out there who are providing hearing aid services that are hearing aid dispensers or hearing instrument specialists, which are very different from audiologists. So audiologists are, they are licensed and educated through accredited university.
Okay, very good. We're going to go to your other ear.
And they are licensed to not only program and dispense hearing aids, but also diagnose hearing healthcare matters. Certainly recommend finding an audiologist to do the testing. And if an individual is experiencing difficulty, then we would have them come in. We do a full test from start to finish where we check not only their hearing levels, but we also check their middle ear function, which is related to their eardrum. And then we also test their speech understanding. We test their speech understanding at an elevated level to see how they would do if they were wearing hearing aids. And then if we notice that there's hearing loss and that they could benefit from hearing aids, then we would start the hearing aid process. There are many, many different styles of hearing aids that are available. And it used to be many years ago that hearing aids were big and clunky and very visible. And now hearing aids are very tiny, so they're very inconspicuous. And a lot of people are concerned about that. You know, they don't want people to be aware that they're having difficulty, and they don't want people to be aware that they're wearing something in their ears. So I think the manufacturers of hearing aids have really recognized that batteries can be a big issue for many people. So recently, some of the manufacturers have come up with rechargeable options. The hearing aid itself is put into a rechargeable docking station, and the rechargeable battery is left inside the hearing aid. And at night, instead of taking the hearing aids off and putting them in a regular case, the user would put the hearing aids inside the charging station, and by the next morning, they're fully charged. It usually takes about 2 weeks from the day that they select the hearing aid, and we take impressions and we order everything till the time that they're fitted with the hearing aids. At the day of the fitting, the individual comes in, and the first thing that we do is we program the hearing aids using computer software. And we use the individual's hearing test results in order to program the hearing aids to determine where the hearing aids need to be set. And then as we go through the fitting process with the user, we'll put the hearing aids on their ears. We'll do some testing. It's called real ear measurement, in which we test what the hearing aids are actually doing when they're inside an individual's ear. And then that tells us whether or not the hearing aids are set appropriately according to what that individual needs. And then we'll just work with individual sound preference. So we'll talk to the person who's being fitted with the hearing aids, see what they sound like to them, and we make fine-tuning adjustments using the computer software so that the hearing aids are set to sound natural. Before we let anyone leave our office, we make sure that they know how to use the hearing aids, how to maintain the hearing aids. So how to insert them in their ears, how to change the batteries, how to use the different program options if they have a volume control or a program switch. So we want to make sure that they know how to fully operate the hearing aids before they leave. When we send them on their way, we often encourage them to live their life as they would ordinarily. We want them to take notes, so when they're wearing the hearing aids, we want them to record times when the hearing aids sound really great, times when the hearing aids don't sound great, so that when they come back for their 2-week follow-up visit, we're able to make adjustments to address the areas of need.
There we go.
We always request that individuals who are new hearing aid users, whenever they get new instruments, that they schedule a 2-week follow-up visit. So at that 2-week follow-up visit, if we need to address any changes, whether it's the loudness of the hearing aids or the program options that they've selected, we'll address it at that time. And that visit is usually just to make sure that they're doing okay with the hearing aids and that everything is good. Audiologists, in addition to being trained to diagnose hearing loss and dispense hearing aids, we are also trained to repair hearing aids. So we do simple repairs here in the office. For someone who's reluctant to start the process, what I would recommend is at least come in for a hearing evaluation. Let us test your hearing, check to see where your hearing levels are. If we do determine that you need a hearing aid, start that process, because what I find with a lot of individuals that come through, they're reluctant in the beginning, but then once we get those hearing aids on and they're programmed, it really does help them preserve quality of life, gives them back access to sounds that they were missing, helps them maintain communication, and they really do recognize the benefit once they get there.
Medicare will cover the cost of your annual hearing test. You'll just need a referral from your physician. If you want additional information on hearing aids, including payment options, or to schedule an appointment with an audiologist, call the Hearing and Speech Agency at 410-318-6780 or visit their website at hasa.org.